What's up, everyone? Welcome back to Moneyline Media. We have an awesome guest lined up for you guys today. Orion Cosce. He is a new up-and-coming MMA star. He won the Dana White Contender Series. He won a contract there along with his brother. He has a fight coming up in UFC 271 against Blood Diamond. So we're going to talk to him about all of that coming up. Hey, Orion, how you doing, man?
Doing good. How you doing?
I'm good. I'm good. Thanks for joining us today.
Not
Or
a
me.
problem. Give me a second, buddy. There we go.
Oh, you got the UFC. Oh, you got repping Uriah Faber. I love it already.
I work here, so actually, you know what? I'll give you a second because I'm in the office right now. This is the gym where I train people.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So I work here myself as well and train people here. I get some training here when I'm not working out in the morning, and yeah, it's nice.
I love it. I love it. So I want to kind of start with your wrestling career in high school. I knew a little bit about how you got started. Your dad used to kind of set you and your brother up with wrestling matches yourself. So talk about a little bit about your wrestling history.
I grew up wrestling my whole life, man. My brother and I, we both grew up wrestling. So honestly, the way it worked out was we started wrestling when I was about like 4, and my brother was a year too young to wrestle at the time. So he was just super excited to be able to like hang out because him and I have always been best friends since we were little kids. And then I just grew up loving it, man. There was nothing like it. I like doing team sports. You know, I played football and basketball. I did track, golf. I tried a bunch of different things, but ain't nothing like wrestling, dude.
Nothing. Yeah, it's funny that you mentioned that you play football. We had a football player on, and he said the best football players and the toughest to block and like tackle were wrestlers.
Yeah, I mean, wrestlers had to be really athletic everywhere, super explosive. So, I mean, wrestling transitioned over to other sports for me pretty damn easy. I mean, I could play any position that I wanted to in high school for a basketball or even football. I didn't like playing quarterback or center though. So for me, it's more so like linebacker, defensive end, free safety, strong safety, stuff like that. I like playing on defense. Dude. I like hitting people. I used to play offense growing up, and I took a year off football to focus more on wrestling, and then came back my senior year for football. And I didn't really care to play offense too much. You know, for me, just I liked having fun playing. I'm just naturally gifted, and worked really hard to get where I'm at. But the one sport that transitions mostly into MMA or any other martial art is definitely going to be wrestling.
Right. But so you've always loved taking people down, it seems like, even as football player.
I just like the one-on-one mentality more, man. It's more so fun. I like all sports. Don't get me wrong. You know,
Right.
on my time off, I'll go and play golf, like to have fun. I'll play baseball every now and then with friends, but ain't nothing like wrestling. Ain't nothing like boxing, kickboxing, where it's just one-on-one, you and somebody else.
Right. So you grew up in a pretty small town, right? 150 people,
Uh, give or take, yeah.
give or take. What was that like growing up in that? And then you were a star wrestler at your high school. What was that like?
So about 100 to 150 where I grew up, but the town of like Hoopa and Willow Creek, like Hoopa's a reservation. That's a pretty large one, so there is definitely more people there. And then even Willow Creek had a good size, and you know all those places are within like a 35, 40 mile square foot radius. So
Okay.
you're not too far away from each other. So my high school had about 250 give or take kids, like give or take 10 to 20 kids per year, depending on who was all going to school and not going to school. And then our graduating class had like 50, but high school was fun, dude. I liked it more than college, obviously. And then no, it just literally all I wanted to do was sports. I wanted to get out of the area. I wanted to do something with my life. I'm not saying that you can do anything back there, but what I wanted to do, you couldn't stick around Humboldt for. You got to get out. You got to be expansive with yourself. And I like the traveling that wrestling brought me. I was able to travel a lot because of it. And I'm the kind of guy who likes to get out, check out new places. So I'd say growing up where I did, it's definitely a lot tougher than growing up in the city. I mean, I know a lot of city kids that are spoiled little brats because but growing up the woods, like you kind of had to work for everything. You had to, you know, work to get where you wanted to get. And so it's just always nice having family and friends that were supportive, the ones that weren't too supportive because they had their own thing going on in a negative sense, like drugs and alcohol, or just didn't want to be anything, or they were just upset that they didn't be anything. Those were the people that you kind of like stayed away from. You just didn't listen to them. So growing up where I came from, though, it was awesome. Cutting trees, fishing, hunting, all that stuff, going hiking, playing with your friends in the summer. It was different, and then you just wanted to go to school so you can hang out with your friends and play sports.
That's great. So your parents were not at first on board with you becoming a fighter, you and your brother, right? I think I read something about how they wanted you to become like a police officer or something like that.
No, it wasn't anything like that. I mean, my dad, he taught us how to fight growing up. He wanted us to be active in sports.
Right.
But our parents weren't together for like the majority of our life. So I'd have to say that I think my mom and like that side of the family, they wanted me to be an actor or a model or some shit. And I was like, yeah, that's cool. I mean, they get paid well, but whatever. I don't want to do that. I want to do sports. And so my dad, he wanted me to be like a firefighter, military, or even like a police officer. But at the end of the day, I always knew I wanted to do sports. I didn't want to do anything else. I just wanted to, be an athlete.
So on your way to becoming an athlete, you find yourself at Lost Boys. What has that gym done for you? I know you're also at Team Alpha Male, but that's where you and your brother kind of both got your start, was Lost Boys. What has that gym done for you?
We didn't go to Lost Boys till we got out of high school, man. So we actually had our start over at just pretty much like training at home and then training at the high school. Then we had like a little cast of like misfit friends that were all hanging out. Me, my brother, our buddy Jeremy, Sam Jones, Joe K. Wood, even my cousin JJ. And we had a lot of like a couple of guys that come over, and Jed and all those guys. And we trained. We had our own little MMA place called the Warrior Institute. We called it that. And then it was like Warrior Society. And there's a couple of different names for it. And we all just said, fuck it, dude. It's just our gym. Because that's what it was. It was like this little community center. And we just made it into our own little thing. But, we could work out there. We could do MMA stuff together there. And we all trained. And so because my brother and I, we wrestled, we did sports. We were able to like go straight from there, straight to go boxing or kickboxing, wrestling, jiu-jitsu, whatever it was we wanted to do for the day. And then as we got older, we ended up moving out of town, stuff like that. I went to college for a year, and then we went for another like couple of months because I was going to go to college with my brother and check that out too. And then we just kind of got tired of it. Like we were just tired of school, dude. I didn't want to waste any more money doing it. I just wanted to wrestle or fight. And so we decided, hey, let's just start fighting. And so we ended up doing that. And we went down that life path, and it was fun. It was awesome. And I would say over at Lost Boys, we gained a lot more knowledge in the jiu-jitsu department for sure. And that's kind of where we started doing gi jiu-jitsu. I never thought about doing gi. I was like, no, we don't do that. Grabbing clothes, stupid. But, I found out that it was actually a good way of getting better at jiu-jitsu. So I started doing it. And then we just kept training, dude. It was never like we went to one gym and just got better. We kind of always just ended up training. Even if we didn't go to the gym, we'd still train on our own. We were working together. And so definitely moving to Lost Boys helped out more with the jiu-jitsu for sure. And then we also had our buddy who was from the res with us that trained in Hoopa. We moved out together actually to Arcata and Eureka. We kept training out there too. So it was kind of just more so keeping like the same people together throughout the majority, and then like bringing in people that we knew that were going to be like better for us as like friends, and then they became family. So a lot of what we have now is just, because of the people that kind of stuck with us and helped push us.
Right.
And then even going to Alpha Male, it's the same thing. I got guys there that I like working with because I know I can push them and they can push me. And so it just comes down to where are you going to fit best? You might end up going to the world's best gym, and it might not be the best suit for you. You might have to find somewhere else that's going to be a better suit for you. It just depends on what kind of like mentality you have as an athlete.
Well, it sounds like you're surrounding yourself also with great people. And I mean, for your brother, who has obviously been your training partner since day one, like you're both in the same weight class, that must even make more of a difference, because as you're pushing each other, you guys are going to probably eventually come across some of the same people. How much is that, like, just having him he's in your corner, he's your training partner? What's that been like?
Oh, it's good, but he lives in Vegas, man. So I get to see him, and then anytime we're together, we try to get training in whenever we can. But at the same time, It's always fun being able to train with people like that. You know, my brother's one of my best friends. I got married, so obviously my wife is my best friend. But outside of that, like that is my best friend. That's my partner right there. Like my brother and I, like we've been through so much together and trained together, so we know each other better than anybody.
So you both get the call for the Dana White Contender Series. When did you guys know that you'd be on the same show, the same card, and what was that day like for both of you? I'm sure you were glad that you went first because I couldn't imagine you were watching it and then you had to worry, or you didn't care.
I don't give a shit, dude. We love fighting. My brother, we fought on the same cards multiple times, and typically he would fight before me, and then I would fight. But it wasn't like you know, for him, it's like I love watching my brother fight. It's kind of like wrestling, almost like in a sense, because I'd watch my brother's matches and then I'd get pumped up watching him win, and then I'd go next. So I think we compete really well because if we're on the same card, we like try to challenge each other to see who's gonna win their fight faster. But then, so it's also nice not having to fight on the same card because then we can be in each other's corner and it feels even sweeter that way.
So you both get the contracts that day. That must have been, I'm sure for your parents and for yourselves, like one of the best moments when you get the contract and then you're watching him. What does that feel like? And then at the end of the night, I'm sure you guys had a couple of brewskis and just hung out.
Yeah, no, that was an amazing feeling. Especially for us, dude. We really, it was a surreal moment, especially the people that we had there in our corner and the people that were able to make it to, you know, to go and support us in Vegas. For the people that weren't able to support us, they let us know by phone calls, text message, or like messages on like social media and shit like that. But I'm gonna be honest, dude. Fucking, I didn't care to think about what my family and friends back home like thought because they weren't there during the training camps. Like the only person in that moment that I cared about was like how happy my brother and I were, how happy my wife was going to be for me. And then like the family and the friends that were supportive through the training camp and our fucking teammates. I cared more about how they thought than like family and friends I barely talked to. Like, cool, like we got their support, but people got to understand, dude, like that's not, you don't think like, oh, hey, I'm not really close with this family and friend person, so but I really care about what they thought about my performance. It ain't nothing like that. You don't care about those people in the moment. They say, hey, you know, good job. And you just say thanks in return. But the people you celebrate with are the people who are going to be like right there with you along the way. A lot of people don't realize that it's going to be like the people that are pushing you in the gym or your family and friends that have been there the entire time, like knowing like what you've been sacrificing for that moment. Those are the people that you're going to be celebrating with a little bit more.
I think even us as fight fans don't understand what it means to have, you know, that training camp, those training partners. And you say, especially in a professional setting, like I just think I work a desk job, but I more care about my boss who sees what I'm doing. And I'm sure it's the same with training partners and coaches for you guys.
I really don't give a shit. To be honest, if I have a bad day at the gym, I tell my coaches and I tell my training partners, hey, let me know. And I'll let them know too, but hey, had a bad day. I'm going to come back in tomorrow. I'll be better. And that's the thing, dude. You got to push yourself on your bad days. Obviously right now, like if you're sick or something like that, then you don't want to go into the gym. You know, don't be that guy who goes and trains while you're fucking sick. But if you have like a small injury, like push yourself through the small injury. It'll make you tougher. If it's a major injury, do what you can to recover. And don't just be a lazy ass sitting down on the bed unless you're like a bedridden injury. But even then, you got to find a way to try to push through and push through. So for me, if I have a bad day at the gym, I just let my teammate know, like I'm training with, be like, hey, man, good job. You whooped my ass today. I'm going to come back and I'm going to try to get you tomorrow. And then there's days like that, too, where you'll have a bad day. And then the next day, your partner has a bad day and you feel great. And then like the next day, you're both having a great day and you're pushing each other good, right?
Right.
But sorry about that. People fucking trying to call me and shit.
No worries. Okay, so you get your debut match. It's versus Philip Rowe. First round, you're dominating. You're absolutely crushing. Your wrestling is on full display there. Going into that second round, he hit you with a couple good ones, but
Yep.
you were still on your feet for most of it, and you were still trying to go for those takedowns. What do you feel like you learned in that matchup, especially since your next matchup is against another guy who's more of a boxing type at UFC 271?
Yeah, definitely. No, I mean, honestly, when I fight, I don't think. In that fight, I started thinking about my right arm going numb. So at the end of the first round, I started feeling it, and I let my corners know. I was like, hey, my right arm's starting to go numb. I got to change the game plan. I got to go in there and finish the shit. And then it didn't help, like, getting kicked in the nuts either. Like, I know it wasn't on purpose. Like, me and Phil, we talked after the fight. I have nothing against that guy. We cut weight together going into the fight. And so I know that weight cut took a toll on him, just like it took a toll on me. And so I have nothing but respect for him. I'm not going to say anything bad. And I had a couple of people actually try to do that there. So when he kicked me in the nuts, what do you think? Like, was that on purpose? I was like, nah, dude, like, shit happens. It's a fight. It happens. I was given time to recover. But I just remember telling myself, like, the entire round, I was so focused on my right arm going numb. And then after the fight, I found out I had a muscle calcification. I was pinching my nerve. And I was like, well, that makes fucking sense. But shit happens. And instead of thinking about it next time, like, if something happens in a fight, you just got to persevere. And I was thinking too much about what my arm was doing and why it wasn't doing the things it was doing. Because I remember putting him against the cage and I wanted to pull, and I felt my left arm pull, but I couldn't feel my right arm pull. And I watched the fight film and I see that it pulls. I'm like, fuck, I couldn't even feel it. So shit happens though. I remember him sitting me on my ass and just looking up and fucking watching him walk away because the ref stopped it. And I personally feel like I could have kept fighting, but the ref, he's a great guy too. He's one of the best refs in the game.
Right.
He didn't like what he saw. He called it. But obviously, don't think. Just go in there, fight, stick to my game plan, do what I do best, which is heavy pressure. Again, just got to keep my game plan going into it and don't even worry about anything else. Another thing, too, is I got to stay away from all these sick people down here. Everyone's fucking getting that new Omicron. And some people getting Delta. So the last thing I want is to get sick. I had a couple of family and friends and ended up getting sick. So I'm just fucking hoping and praying, because I want to fight on this card hella bad. So,
well, it's not in your hometown, but it's in your home state of California. How pumped are you for this card coming up? And he has a lot of hype, coming into it. He's coming in from City Kickboxing. I know how you said, he big gyms. If that doesn't really matter to you as much, but
my fight's actually going to be in Houston.
Is it in Houston? I thought it was in Anaheim.
No, it's in Houston, buddy. You're thinking of the week before.
Oh, okay. My bad about that. Sorry about that.
Hey, it's a fight card. It is what it is. The fight can take anywhere. My plan is just stay healthy, man. Keep training, and I'm looking forward to getting in there. And then, like I said, too, I just got to push. Can't be thinking about anything else. Just got to train.
And you're training on Team Alpha Male. I know that we talked a little bit about that, but legendary gym. You feel your wrestling. I know you came from a wrestling background. That's definitely a very big wrestling camp. Do you feel like your wrestling has even gotten better being in that camp?
Wrestling is always going to get better, man. I mean, you just get better anywhere you train because you just have to push yourself. So if I were to sit here and say, no, it got worse, that's not because of them. That's because me as an athlete, I got to push myself to get better at something. If you don't do something for a while, you're not going to get good anymore. You're going to get worse. So again, it doesn't matter what gym you're in as long as you're pushing yourself. And fortunately enough for me, I got training partners that have really good wrestling. They have really good jiu-jitsu and really good striking. And those are the guys I like to train with because I know if I push them, they'll push me.
Going into this, like I said, you're going against a kickboxer. I'm not going to ask for your game plan, but is training different depending on what? I know you say that training, whoever makes you better, but it doesn't matter if you're going against more of a jiu-jitsu guy or a kickboxing guy or boxer, wrestler. It doesn't matter. Is fight camp pretty much the same regardless?
Has to be. I mean, shit. If a guy takes me down, I got to get my ass back up unless I know I'm going to be more jiu-jitsu dominant. If he's going to be better at jiu-jitsu, I'm going to be heavy with my ground and pound and striking. If he's a better striker, I'm going to use my striking to get to the ground. So now I'm going to keep training the same way, working a lot of footwork, head movement, and just making sure that I'm not blowing my wad and stuff like that. I didn't feel gassed in that last fight either. I could have kept fighting, but when your right arm goes numb, it kind of takes a lot out of you. Like you're trying to throw it and you can't feel it, so you're attaching yourself more. But I mean, athletes know that. I didn't feel like I went into that training camp wrong or anything like that. Just, hey, shit happens. You move on. I'm going to learn from it. I'm going to be a better athlete from it. And I'm going to keep training the same way. It always works. And, I used to have a problem with overtraining. I would overtrain, and fucking changed it to where I wasn't overtraining. I notice I'm always better performance-wise if I don't overtrain and I cut my weight right versus when I do overtrain and I cut my weight shitty.
So what's the weight cut like for you? What's your walk around weight?
Like 200, 205.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
So you had to cut down what 30, was it 35 pounds then to
About
get to the what?
35. That's also because I decided to try to put on more size and muscle. So that was just me allowing myself to get a little bit bigger. My natural cut's usually about 195.
Okay.
I'll cut 195 to 198, down to 170, 171. But I'm also down to fight at 185 too. I mean, I don't give a shit. 170, 185. It's,
Yeah, that's I imagine a rough cut, but then when you get it, when you rehydrate yourself, you're getting yourself a big advantage when you go against those welterweights.
The cut's only as hard as you make it, dude. Like my last cut, I probably should have waited to cut the rest of the weight till the morning because I didn't sleep too well the night before. So that's a pretty tough weight cut. But then again, it just comes down to what do you want to do? You got to know you're gonna make that weight cut. That's why I told myself, hey, make the weight cut. You can rehydrate. So I play with it a couple different ways. This next time I cut weight, obviously I won't mess up. I missed one of my days. I started a day late on my the water shedding.
Okay.
And so I ended up missing one day for my intake of water, and that's why the last couple of pounds were hard. But typically it's always going to be the last 2 pounds, last 2.5 pounds are the hardest. And you're just thinking just fucking get it done. But hey, I got a team to support me, and I already know the weight cut is the hardest part. I would rather fight fucking 10 fights in a row, all 5-round fights. Versus cutting weight over and over and over again. But, that's why if I go successful, you guys will probably see me back in there at a catch weight 175, 180, or a 185 pound fight the very next week. I'm willing to fight back-to-back weeks or, one fight every 2 weeks. Obviously, you got to stay healthy each fight that you take, though. So it just depends on how things go. But I love fighting, dude.
I know you also have a love for the Raiders, so I have to ask, big week coming up for them. What are you feeling? I'm a Jets fan, so I don't know what the playoffs are, but
okay.
But I know Raiders, it's a big week coming up. How excited are you for that?
Super fucking stoked. Raider Nation, fucking let's go. But no, dude, Raiders should have had 3 games at least that they should have won. The Bears game for one, they I don't know how you come into that game playing shitty like that, but losing Henry Ruggs didn't help. Players getting injured and sick, but every team had that this year. But then the Raiders lose to the Redskins, they lose to the Giants, and it's you can't have those games.
Well, the Raiders also, I think, in what it feels like a season full of controversy, I feel like a lot of it was the poor Raiders. I feel bad for Derek Carr, man.
Dude, I feel bad for Matt Crosby. That guy's the most held player NFL and still doesn't get the holding calls, but that's what happens when you don't really have a real head coach who's able to cuss out the refs and let them know watch the fucking holding. But then again, every game's going to be like that, man. We beat the Colts, 3-game winning streak, and the Raiders are a flex to a night game. And I think the reason why too is because obviously if the Browns would beat the Steelers, then the only thing the Raiders have to watch is for the Colts to lose to the Jaguars. So if the Jaguars upset the Colts and the Ravens beat the Steelers, the Raiders and the Chargers are both in the playoffs.
Yeah, they could just kneel the whole game. I saw that. If they tie, it's fine.
Yep, but I want the Raiders to win, dude. Fuck the Chargers.
How awesome would it be?
I got a guy I train with, Luke. Fuck Luke. He's my boy, but he's a Chargers fan, so all my Chargers homeboys, fuck you guys this Sunday.
How awesome would it be? February 12th, you fight. February 13th is the Super Bowl. Double win for you if the Raiders are in it.
Oh, dude, that'd be amazing. I'd definitely try to go. I'd try to hit somebody up and be like, hey, man, I need some tickets.
That'd be awesome, too, because after cutting weight, you could beer and chicken wings and everything, just getting ready for that Super Bowl. But,
yeah, I'd like to eat fairly healthy, man. So if anything, I'll go for barbecue and stuff like that.
Okay.
But I wouldn't be too mad about having a beer and watching the Raiders win. If they make it, they got to make it first, dude. They got to win on Sunday.
That's true. Well, I hope they win for you. So we play this game with all of the athletes that we have on our show. It's called Rapid Fire. It's not correctly named. We're still figuring out a rename because you don't have to go super fast, but they're just random questions. Some are fun, some are about fighting. So I'll get to it with, who is your Mount Rushmore of MMA fighters?
Ooh, I'm gonna go with Fedor Emelianenko, George St. Pierre. Damn,
It's tough.
Anderson Silva.
Yep.
You have to do it, but when he was in his prime, that guy was unstoppable. He was one of the best striking geniuses in the world. And then obviously Fedor, just because that guy fought way bigger people. GSP for what he was able to do, even though like there was fights he could have attempted to finish, he never did. He like took it to the draw. So sometimes it was boring, but hey, like he got to live out a really good career. And not to say last but not least, the fighting was different at the time, but you'd have to say like someone like Gracie for what he did or how early it was. Yeah. The sport was a lot different back then, but if you said for like MMA and stuff like that, MMA was in its early stages, so you'd have to say a guy like that, especially where he showed, like in the fights where he fought bigger people, but he was still able to use his jiu-jitsu and grappling to win fights that he was getting his ass whooped in the striking department. So, have to be him.
I like that. Now I'm going to have maybe even a harder one. I'm going to ask you for the Mount Rushmore of welterweights, which I guess GSP would have to be on it for you.
Yeah, it'd have to be GSP, Kamaru Usman, because of what he's been doing. Fuck, that's hard. You can't really even say Matt Hughes because fucking. I mean, you could. Oh, that's a hard one. Damn. What, GSP? Matt. I'd say GSP, Matt Hughes, Kamaru Usman for sure on there above Matt Hughes. Shit. I mean, I guess you could even say someone like Colby Covington now too. Fucking, he's the only person that's pretty much given Kamaru Usman a hard problem in any of his fights.
Colby's a great fighter. I think that a lot of people forget what a great wrestler he is because of potentially his mouth. But
yeah, a lot of people forget that he's a great fighter, but look at what he's done in his fights against other athletes, and then Kamaru, those two clear out the division pretty much, and those are the only two who push each other in their fights.
Right.
A lot of people hate Colby because of like the persona he played, but a lot of people forget like he was about to get cut from the UFC, win or lose against Damian Maia,
right?
And then fucking said what he said, and the like UFC was like, "Hey, we can use that. Like he's sellable."
Right. So every story needs a villain, even though I don't even think he's a villain. But that's how he's perceived. All right.
Of course.
Who is your dream fight?
For me to fight?
Yeah, for you to fight. And it could be anyone from any era. They're in their prime, though, when they fight you. That's the only.
That's perfect. I mean, I remember growing up wanting to fight people like GSP, Anderson Silva. Nowadays, it'd be like Izzy and Kamaru, Colby, Whitaker, all those guys. Even like Chris Weidman or something like that, just because of what he was able to do in his time that he was able to do it.
Right.
And it's all out of respect. I would have loved to fight Khabib too if he would ever be interested in bumping up. But, it's one of those things where I'd always want to fight fighters that are at the top.
Right.
But nowadays, it's one of those, I'd love to have fought anybody,
right.
170 or 185, potentially fucking, if given time to bump up, even a 205 fight. I mean, a fight, it's just a fight. I don't know what people cared about it. Win or lose, I get to say I went out there and fucking did it and put on my best performance that I could. Right. And so, I honestly, whoever I get to step in the cage with, I'm always going to have the respect for them because of the fact that they stepped in. And then, pretty much, I don't have a favorite or any one fighter, so I'd have to say all of them.
Gotcha. So favorite, I know we talked, you're not a junk food eater, but favorite cheat meal. If you can, after the fight you win, what's your favorite cheat meal?
That's tough, man. I mean, it depends on there. But I like to grub. I'm more of a healthy guy. But I mean, if someone makes a bomb ass if someone knows how to make a mean stir fry,
Okay.
like a Mongolian beef or like even like shrimp fried rice or anything stir fry is good. But I like Indian tacos, dude. Where I grew up, Indian tacos are fucking fire, and so that's like a once in like every couple of months you can do that because it's oh fuck, they're so bomb. But I also like tamales and stuff like that. Italian food's definitely like gnocchi. I like homemade gnocchi or lasagna.
Okay.
So I do that, but for a cheat meal, I'd have to just stick with the basics and say cheesesteak. I love cheesesteak, man. So after a fight, one thing I really want is because I've earned it. I cut the weight,
Right.
win or lose, I still earned that cheesecake and a slice of cheesecake and a scoop of ice cream, something like that, dude.
Love that. Love that. I'm like 40 minutes away from Philly. So cheesecake is yeah, exactly. So if you weren't a fighter, what would you be doing? I know that you're a personal trainer too, so you can't say that.
I mean, something with fitness, man. I love fitness. I love being athletic. So I'd definitely be doing something like that. But I also like to write, man. I had a laptop and it used to have like a bunch of different novel ideas, like a couple 100-page up to 500-page, like sci-fi book ideas, or even like like murder mystery and stuff like that, and even like writing short films, or even trying to write like a movie script, something like that. There was all like a bunch of fun. And then that computer, I had it for so many years and it just ended up dying. So I was like, fuck it, whatever. I lost everything, but I can still have it all up in here.
Right.
So I think writing and even wanting to act, that'd be fun too. I don't mind it.
Yeah, you got a great personality too for acting. Like I could see you being great. I could even see you being a little bit of a comedian too, like a Joe Rogan type.
Oh man, I ain't that funny, but I mean, to anyone who thinks I am, fucking awesome. Whatever. I make myself smile, make myself laugh, and honestly, I like having a good time with family and friends. So being adventurous, I do something adventurous, and acting is an adventurous thing. So,
All right, last question for you, and we're gonna end on a good note. Your dream vacation?
Italy.
Italy?
I'd love to go to Italy, Switzerland, Greece. I want to go to Europe. I want to check out all like the history there in Europe. There's obviously a lot of places I want to go. I've been to travel. I'd love to go to Australia if they ever got out of their quarantine, and New Zealand and stuff like that. But definitely Europe. I definitely want to go to Europe. I've been there once. I went to Amsterdam, Ireland. I only got to go to Ireland for a night and part of the day, but it was still really cool. And then I went to London as well for the Raiders versus Bears with my buddies.
Oh, that's awesome.
But just the history there is amazing. I'd love to go and check out Central Europe, Northern Europe. I just want to travel everywhere, man. Bora Bora. I want to check out the Scandinavian lands, Russia for sure. I would love to check out the Great Wall of China or what's there. And then Mongolia would be cool too. Go and check out, like Thailand, Vietnam, all those different places. India, shit, even the Middle East. I want to go check out the pyramids, check out the Middle East, Morocco, and then definitely Japan, though. I've always wanted to go to Japan.
Well, yeah, especially I imagine as an MMA fighter, like just the history in Japan, you'd want to be around too.
I would love to go watch a sumo event, check out the Cherry Blossom Festival, the Dara, the Dragon Festival in September and shit like that. And no, just to be able to go over there and check out like the different scenery, the mountains, and obviously I'm a huge anime fan, so I'd like to go and meet up with all those guys too.
Awesome. Man, thanks so much for coming on the show. My birthday is the week before your fight, and we're doing a party the day of your fight, so we'll be watching awesome. Here in New Jersey. You're going to have some fans, so best of luck, man. We'll be watching.
Hey, take care, buddy.
All right. Orion Cosce, man, great guy, big Raiders fan, so let's hope the Raiders win for him. He is fighting UFC 271 in Houston. He corrected me. So make sure you check it out. And that is it for tonight from us. Thanks so much for watching, guys.